Why are you wearing glasses?
Reading.
I didn't know you could read.
Sorry about that.
You would never guess that some of the most iconic moments in the Harry Potter films were actually improvised. Talk about movie magic. When you bring together so many talented people, like the incredible cast of Harry Potter, you inevitably get moments that were never supposed to happen. That's the beauty of adaptations. In the process of translating the book to screen and bringing what's on screen to life, actors improvise lines and moments that end up feeling totally earned and natural. From on-set accidents to memorable lines, these moments totally had you fooled into thinking they were planned all along.
I know, but it's the only plan we've got.
At 13 years old, Daniel Radcliffe was keeping pace with the best of the best. Hard to believe, but the tense face-off between Harry and Lucius Malfoy at the end of Chamber of Secrets was improvised. After Dumbledore dismisses Lucius, he's supposed to leave the room without another word, but Jason Isaacs ad-libbed the quip, "Let us hope Harry Potter is always around
to save the day."
But Harry claps back.
Don't worry. I will be.
It's a pitch-perfect moment that was all Daniel Radcliffe. Fitting, too, in that Harry Potter, the character and the story, will always be around, all thanks to the wonderfully dedicated fans.
It's not a term one usually hears in civilized conversation.
Sometimes actors are so talented, you can just roll the camera and capture the magic that ensues. That's exactly what director David Yates did for the scene in Deathly Hallows Part 1, where Bellatrix tortures Hermione. He had two phenomenal actresses in Helena Bonham Carter and Emma Watson, and letting them do their thing was definitely the right choice, as much of the scene was improvised. To top it off, the most excruciating detail, when Bellatrix carves the word mudblood onto Hermione's arm, was also the actress's idea.
Stop.
One of our favorite Ron and Hermione moments comes early in the series. At the end of Chamber of Secrets, the trio is reunited after Hermione was petrified by the basilisk, leaving us teary-eyed every time. The script had Hermione hug both Harry and Ron, but Emma Watson was too nervous to hug them both, so she improvised the wonderfully awkward handshake with Ron. It ends up being a great moment that says so much about their relationship. The infamous moment when Voldemort hugs Malfoy in the Deathly Hallows was never in the script. It's such an odd moment for Voldemort to hug Malfoy that it could only have been a spur-of-the-moment choice by the brilliant Ralph Fiennes. Apparently, he only did the hug in one of the takes too, but it was so bizarre and effective that was the take they went with for the movie. Like all of us watching, Tom Felton didn't see it coming, so his baffled reaction was totally genuine.
Dobby feels most aggrieved, sir.
Another great improvised moment is all thanks to the wonders of technology. Jason Isaacs started kicking out at thin air in the scene when Lucius leaves Dumbledore's office, to the confusion of Chris Columbus, who thought he was tripping on something. Really, he was improvising the moment when Lucius kicks Dobby down the stairs, just to add that extra bit of cruelty to the character.
One person couldn't feel all that. It'd explode.
As the trio got older and less innocent, they also started to experience more tension within the group. But they share a great moment in Order of the Phoenix, sitting around the Gryffindor common room discussing Harry's love life. Hermione explains how Cho must be feeling and quips that Ron
Got the emotional range of a teaspoon.
The laugh that the three share after Emma Watson delivers this line was apparently a genuine laugh from the actors. We're glad they kept it.
Saint Potter.
One of the funniest moments in the movies has to be the moment in Chamber of Secrets, when Malfoy stumbles on Ron and Harry, who have taken Polyjuice Potion to disguise themselves as Crabbe and Goyle. Malfoy can't imagine why Goyle is wearing reading glasses and casually throws out,
I didn't know you could read.
It's all in Tom Felton's delivery. Apparently, he'd forgotten his actual line and improvised this hilarious bit of dialogue.
Harry Potter is dead!
In Deathly Hallows Part 2, Voldemort gives a grand speech during the Battle of Hogwarts to demonstrate his power and compel those still fighting the good fight to fall in line. But surprisingly, the speech, terrifying in its menace, wasn't totally scripted. Ralph Fiennes improvised much of it, changing up his lines each take to keep the reactions of those listening fresh. According to Jason Isaacs, it kept a courtyard of extras and actors on their toes. We bet it did.
You've got dirt on your nose, by the way.
Seeing how young the Harry Potter cast was back in the first movie makes us super nostalgic for more innocent times. The trio's first scene together was the beginning of it all. But did you know that part of the scene was improvised by Emma Watson? When Hermione realizes she's talking to the Harry Potter, she shouts,
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter!
The holy cricket exclamation was totally improvised. Director Chris Columbus loved it and kept it in.
How do I look?
Exceptionally ordinary.
Dancing is hard, and it's easy to make a fool of yourself doing it. But Luna Lovegood is one person who dances like no one's watching. In The Deathly Hallows Part 1, Luna's hilariously odd dance with her father at Bill and Fleur's wedding wasn't scripted. Ivana Lynch wanted to create a Luna-worthy dance to perform for the scene, and what she came up with was so strange and amazing that we can't imagine the scene without it.
Master has given Dobby a sock.
What? I didn't.
In the script for Chamber of Secrets, Lucius tries to cast some minor curse on Harry after he helps to free Dobby. Jason Isaacs apparently forgot what curse he was supposed to say and said the first thing that came to mind, which happened to be Avada Kedavra. We'd say going straight to the killing curse is a bit of an overreaction. Thankfully, Dobby intervenes before he can finish it. The moment works because it shows how unstable and frightening Lucius can be.
You shall not harm Harry Potter.
Who could forget Mr. Weasley's super serious question to Harry in Chamber of Secrets?
Tell me, what exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
This moment was also improvised. Mark Williams, who played Arthur Weasley, came up with a whole series of funny Muggle-related questions to ask Harry in the scene where they first met. He would change it up each take for maximum comedic impact. If only we could have been a fly on the wall while they were filming this scene.
There's no Hogwarts without you, Hagrid.
At the end of Chamber of Secrets, after Hagrid has been vindicated, he gets a standing ovation from all of Hogwarts. Well, almost. Everyone but Malfoy and his crew, naturally. But Crabbe apparently didn't get the memo. He stands and claps along with everyone else before Malfoy yanks him back down. But this moment wasn't supposed to happen. Apparently, the actor who plays Crabbe didn't realize what was going on and stood to clap by accident. Chris Columbus liked it and decided to make it part of the scene. The climax of the Order of the Phoenix is a tense standoff between Dumbledore's army and the Death Eaters inside the Ministry of Magic. Harry's friends are fascinated with Death Eaters, including the sadistic Bellatrix Lestrange, who has Neville at wand point. Helena Bonham Carter got a little too into character though. Apparently, Bonham Carter jammed her wand into Matthew Lewis's ear by accident. But since it was very in character, they left it in. The only issue is, she actually perforated Lewis's eardrum. Ouch. Don't play with wands, kids. Lucius Malfoy swoops into the Chamber of Secrets with flowing blonde locks, dark wardrobe, and iconic Slytherin cane. And suddenly, it totally clicks why Draco is the way he is. But Lucius was originally described much differently. He's so fully realized by Jason Isaacs that you would never suspect it, but it's true. Isaacs put his own stamp on the character and designed the whole look from platinum blonde head to toe. The wand in the cane was also his idea.
We're ready for you now. Follow me.
The scene when the first years enter the Great Hall for the first time and finally see it in all its majesty was actually the first time that the actors stepped foot on the Great Hall set. So their odd reactions are totally real. Of course, the floating candles and magical ceiling were special effects, but it's still a remarkable set. And having the kids react off the cuff makes the moment that much more magical. Barty Crouch Jr. is maybe the creepiest character in the whole series. And that's all thanks to David Tennant's deliciously slimy performance. His snake-like tick of flicking his tongue only reinforced how much of a duplicitous Death Eater he was. Interestingly, the constant tongue flicking was improvised by David Tennant. It's one of those rare improvisations that ends up being crucial to the plot, since the characteristic flickering tongue is a dead giveaway that Mad-Eye Moody is not who he seems.
You won because I made it so, Potter.
Finally, in Prisoner of Azkaban, director Alfonso Cuarón wanted to add a touch of realism to the characters, who were always in uniform in the previous two films, so he asked everyone playing Hogwarts students to wear their uniforms however they liked. That's why you'll notice some students looking very put together, and others looking disheveled with crooked ties and untucked shirts. It's that kind of attention to detail that makes the Harry Potter movies feel so real, despite the magic.
Alright then, I'll use my torch to— Are you right?
Sorry.
I know, it's hard.
One of the best parts of a blockbuster movie or a hit TV series is the behind-the-scenes bloopers that have fans laughing until they cry. But what about the bloopers that actually make it into the final cut? Welcome back, The Things fans. Have you ever thought you caught a glimpse of an actor laughing in a super serious scene? Or caught a moment on screen that looked a little too real to be acting? Actors' jobs are to bring characters to life and make them seem like real people. Well, the truth is that a lot of the time, actors do this by being real, or themselves. In this video, we'll be taking you through some of the most shocking, unscripted on-screen moments with actors like Millie Bobby Brown, Tom Holland, and Hollywood legend Robin Williams himself. Buckle up, this could get real. The Stranger Things cast may be at the beginning of their careers, but they give their all into every performance. In this Season 3 scene, when Eleven is fighting a possessed Billy, she's so tired that she falls back into Michael. But we discovered that Millie Bobby Brown actually broke character in this scene and is the one who fell back into Finn. This scene was so intense that even she was exhausted. If you look closely, you can see Finn glancing at the directors in concern because he totally wasn't expecting it. A creepy killer clown is bad enough through a screen. Imagine seeing one in real life. That's exactly what happened to the cast of the horror movie It. The child actors that made up the Losers Club were kept separate from Bill Skarsgård when he was in his full Pennywise makeup and costume.
I think we all also decided mutually that it would be good to see him for the first time and just be freaked out.
The first time they saw him all together was when they were filming the infamous projector scene. The fear on their faces is completely real. It wasn't friends at first sight for this superhero duo. In fact, it took quite a while for Tony Stark to warm up to Peter Parker. That's why this car scene between the two was nothing but awkward, and it's all thanks to Tom Holland breaking character.
That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
The hug between them was actually Tom Holland trying to be funny, and Robert Downey Jr.'s line afterward about opening the car door is him trying to save the scene. Improv just works for these two. In Avengers: Infinity War, Tom Holland also improvised his death scene with Robert Downey Jr.
I don't want to go, sir, please.
His line was completely unscripted and made not only the characters but the actors' emotions more real. The filming for this scene took a dangerous turn. There's a reason why Isla Fisher's character Henley looks like she's really drowning during one of her illusion tricks. Isla did all of her stunts for this movie, so during the filming, she was actually drowning. Luckily, nothing went terribly wrong, and we got the awesome scene that ended up in the final cut. Would you ever take on a role in a horror series? Even if we told you that some directors purposely scare actors on camera to get a genuine reaction? This exact thing happened during a scene for the hit Netflix show The Haunting of Hill House. Actress Victoria Pedretti as Nell pops her head out from the backseat of a car in order to scare her two sisters, but during one take, she did it earlier than expected. The reactions from the actresses Kate Siegel and Elizabeth Reeser are completely real. Do you remember Kevin's electric performance of Tear Me Down in Riverdale's Season 4 musical episode? Well, Kevin's actor Casey Cott and KJ Apa teamed up to shock the other actors. In one scene, Kevin kisses Archie. It was totally unscripted and makes the look of shock on everyone else's faces even more priceless. KJ Apa was putting so much effort into this scene that he actually broke his hand. During the emotional Season 1 episode where Archie rescues Cheryl from the lake where she's trapped under ice, he punches away with it with his bare hands. While KJ was of course punching a mat over the ice, he still managed to break his hand while filming the scene. Bird Box broke records at Netflix, and with how much work went into the film, we're not surprised. One shocking fact about the film is that Sandra Bullock really was blindfolded during her scenes and actually couldn't see. That means Mallory stumbling around on the scene wasn't all acting. It was very real. The Joker film was nothing short of spectacular, and a lot of it is thanks to Joaquin Phoenix. There's actually an iconic scene included in the movie that was all thanks to Joaquin's emotions and not acting at all. One day on set, he got to hear the soundtrack to the film for the first time. His lone tear in this scene is actually his reaction to hearing the music. Lara Jean and Peter Kay's love story is probably one we've all dreamt of once in our lives. But how much of it was Lara and Peter, and how much of it was their actors, Lana and Noah, having fun? If you pay attention to the film, Lara Jean's lock screen is actually her and Peter napping. But according to the director, the photo on her phone was actually taken of Lana and Noah napping together in between takes. Any kid would be scared of Maleficent. We're even scared of Maleficent. That's why for the film, the only child who would work as toddler Aurora was Angelina Jolie's daughter Vivian. The acting in their adorable scenes together is really just Vivian trying to get her mother's attention. Malfoy and Crabbe had a reputation to uphold at Hogwarts, so when we see Malfoy stop his friend from clapping after a Gryffindor victory, we think nothing of it. But the scene is actually Tom Felton stopping his co-star from clapping because he knew he wasn't supposed to. Tom was really trying to keep cool, calm, and collected here. Grey's Anatomy has been around for years, so the actors have gotten pretty good at their jobs. But, of course, they still break character every now and again. In this scene, Jessica Capshaw decided to improv a kiss between her and Camilla Luddington. The shock on Joe's face is 100% Camilla. Michael Scott's last episode of The Office was extremely emotional for the characters, but it was also hard for the actors to say goodbye to Steve Carell. That's why, in the scene where Pam rushes to the airport to say goodbye to Michael, the emotional performance by Jenna Fisher wasn't a performance at all. If you ever watched Supernatural, you know that Dean's famous catchphrase is, well, there was one time when Jensen Ackles decided to add the line in when it wasn't scripted, but he said it with a little too much enthusiasm. Jared Padalecki was not expecting it and burst out laughing. The director loved it and decided to keep the take.
Son of a...
Jason Segel had no idea that his character Marshall would be losing his father in the series. In fact, the first time he found out was when Allison Hannigan's character told him. The emotion on his face is actually his reaction to finding out the news. David Schwimmer managed to pull off a practical joke on Jennifer Aniston while filming Friends, and it was used in an episode. He, along with his sidekick, Cole Sprouse, pretended like he had fallen down the stairs, but it was really only a dummy that fell. Jennifer had no idea it was going to happen, so Rachel's panic and screams in the scene were really Jennifer freaking out. Robin Williams was of course a comedic genius. In Good Will Hunting, during a therapy scene with Matt Damon, he tells him a hilarious story about the flatulence problem his character's wife had. The story was so funny because it was completely made up by Robin. Matt Damon's smiles and laughs are all real. Pretty Woman is a Hollywood classic, and millennials today still strive to have the aesthetic Julia Roberts brought to that screen. We're here to tell you that one of the most iconic scenes was, in fact, completely unscripted. When Julia Roberts gets her hand caught in the jewelry box that Richard Gere closes, her reaction wasn't acting. She had no idea that he was going to do that at all.
Are you okay?
How many times have you bawled your eyes out at a super sad moment on screen? We hear you, and we've been there too. But it's not just us. Discover the scenes in movies like Harry Potter and TV shows like Friends, where the cast got just as choked up as the audience. Get the Kleenex ready.
I teared up a little bit watching Sophie in that scene.
Filming a scene where your on-screen twin passes away sure sounds tough, and for Oliver Phelps, it was very emotional. He asked director David Yates and co-star Julie Walters how to get into that mindset, and he revealed he ended up thinking about loved ones I've lost over the years. A makeup artist then came over with eucalyptus spray and blew in his eyes. He admitted, "I'm crying for real at that point." They did it in just 2 takes. James Phelps wasn't affected at all by the crying. He had to lie there for so long, he actually fell asleep.
And woke up on my own on the stage while everyone went to lunch.
Will Smith's raw performance in The Pursuit of Happiness gave us serious goosebumps, and the emotion in the final scene got to Will himself too. He cried real tears, and it's hardly surprising. The actor revealed how important it was for him to do justice to the true story it was based on. He connected with Chris Gardner, the real man he was portraying on screen, so that he could tell his story. And working with his own son Jaden when he was just 8 years old also made it a mega emotional experience for Will.
Was it as easy as it looked?
No, sir. No, sir, it wasn't.
Riverdale paid tribute to the late Luke Perry following his fatal stroke with its Season 4 premiere. The episode featured Fred Andrews' funeral, the character that Luke portrayed in the show. Given the real-life events, it's not surprising that the cast were crying real tears of grief and loss as they mourned their former co-star. It was an immensely moving moment for all of us watching at home as well, and a beautiful way to pay tribute.
We're honoring him the best we could.
It was the best way, yeah.
The ending of Captain Phillips wasn't in the original script. It was entirely improvised, and that makes Tom Hanks's raw performance all the more affecting. He let the emotion of the scene wash over him. The actor revealed that it was instinctual, and he couldn't really remember it afterwards, as he was just so physically engrossed in the procedure that was happening to him. He had spoken to the real person he was portraying beforehand, and Tom had discovered that Phillips couldn't stop crying. A Navy SEAL had told him not to fight it and let it flow out of his system, and that's exactly what Tom did.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Denzel Washington shows so much in such a small physical moment when he lets a tear fall down his cheek as he's flogged in glory. His back already bears the scars of his punishment as a runaway slave. It's an incredibly moving moment and highlights the power of the actor. The cast of Glee paid tribute to Corey Monteith after his tragic passing with a beautifully touching episode titled The Quarterback. The actor's tears were, of course, real, as the cast let their raw emotions show while acting their characters mourning the passing of Finn. Lea Michele was in a real relationship with Corey at the time of his passing, and her genuine tears as she sang Adele's Make You Feel My Love moved us all to tears too.
Come on, let's hang it right over there.
When Eleven reads an emotional letter left for her by Police Chief Hopper in the final episode, her tears are seriously convincing. And that's because Millie Bobby Brown was genuinely crying. The actor has discussed how she got herself into the zone to deliver the emotional scenes in Stranger Things' 3rd season. She listened to the recording from her co-star, David Harbour, and got the camera on her straight away to capture her raw reaction, which she describes as pure devastation and sadness.
And when life hurts you, because it will, remember the hurt.
Finishing up a franchise of films is going to be emotional, and that's exactly how Daisy Ridley felt when her role as Rey in the Star Wars series came to a full stop. She was so upset about the end of the line that she didn't need to pretend to cry in her emotional scenes. Those tears flowed naturally. In an interview, she revealed,
"In the shot, I'm just crying in the shot. It was incredibly dramatic."
She literally couldn't remember what she said afterwards. She just hugged the cast and crew and left in a car, staring out of the window. Saying goodbye to their sitcom of 10 years was a very emotional moment for the cast of Friends, so they didn't have to put on the tears in their final scene. Courtney Cox starts crying, and she sets off Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer. Lisa Kudrow and Matt LeBlanc also shed a tear. The only one who didn't? Matthew Perry. He kept it together, but admitted he felt like he was going to cry throughout the 7 hours of their last day.
This is harder than I thought it would be.
Benedict Cumberbatch cared so deeply for the character he played in The Imitation Game that he genuinely cried. In fact, on the last day of shooting, he was so moved he couldn't stop the tears from flowing. The actor revealed that while filming the final scene, he broke down and couldn't control himself.
And I couldn't stop crying.
He said he grieved for the beautiful and brilliant man. During an interview with Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Lawrence revealed what caused Sophie Turner to cry real tears in an emotional scene. It's the moment when her godlike powers cause her to accidentally end Jennifer's character's life. And it's all because her vape got taken away. As Jen revealed,
she really was crying because her dialect coach right before the take took her jewel away.
Sophie joined the joking by saying,
"It's how to act. Take it away and then you give it back."
Scream is terrifying to watch, but was it terrifying to make? Well, Drew Barrymore wanted to cry real tears, so she made an agreement with Wes Craven about how to approach the crying scenes. Wes would tell her a secret story, and it brought the tears on every time. Wes revealed what their secret was about. It was a story Drew had told him about a boy who had done awful things to his dog. So the director just had to say one line to the actor, and she'd burst into tears and be just frantic.
Oh, God!
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Drew Barrymore has a history of really crying in her movies. Way back when she was little, she played Gertie in E.T., and she was able to give a very raw, genuine performance because the cast and crew encouraged her to believe the extraterrestrial was actually real. In a behind-the-scenes featurette, her co-star Henry Thomas, who played Elliot, revealed that Drew introduced E.T. to her mom and said,
He doesn't want to talk to you right now, but he's just a little shy.
Her co-star Robert McNaughton said it must have been very upsetting for her when she had to say goodbye to E.T. Jessica Alba's crying scene in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer is fascinating for a different reason. She revealed that making the movie actually made her want to stop acting, and that's all down to director Tim Story's response to her genuine crying. She revealed that the director said her crying looked too real and too painful. Well, duh, that's how it's supposed to be. But then, get this, he added, "Can you be prettier when you cry? Cry pretty, Jessica." Just wow. He wanted her to make her face flat, so they could then CGI the tears in. As Jessica quite rightly pointed out, then there's no connection to a human being.
Hey!
How would you feel knowing some of the steamiest on-screen kisses you've seen were real because they weren't meant to happen in the first place? These actors found themselves in spontaneous, steamy, and occasionally hilarious moments with kisses that were never written into the script. Whether it was a crush, a direction, or in-the-moment move, these smooches are unforgettable and made for some great stories. Let's take a look at these 20 kisses that were totally improvised.
I want you to watch this, and I want you to burn this into your brains.
In the finale of Season 2, Max and Lucas share a sweet kiss at the snowball dance. This kiss was never written in, and later, in an episode of Beyond Stranger Things, actress Sadie Sink confessed that she wasn't comfortable with the scene. Earlier in the day, she was told that there would be a kiss, and she protested.
What? No, no, that's not in the script. That's not happening.
The actress unfortunately felt like she didn't have a choice, so she wound up doing the kiss on camera. While filming Jurassic World, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard share a kiss after she saves him from a small dinosaur and helps him up from the ground. Turns out, this wasn't scripted, and director Colin Trevorrow had pulled Pratt aside right before they filmed the scene to tell him to surprise his co-star with a kiss.
And I was like, ah, Hollywood.
The 2015 film The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2 included a smooch between Woody Harrelson and Elizabeth Banks that Harrelson initiated. However, the kiss wasn't just for the scene. After the fact, Harrelson confessed to having a crush on Banks and explained that he'd spontaneously decided to kiss her. The actor said,
She's such a pro, you know.
And went with it while filming. The movie brought a very unexpected kiss between Lawrence and Adams during a tense scene. The kiss wasn't originally meant to happen, but Adams thought it would add something unique to the scene, so she brought the proposal to Lawrence before they filmed. The actresses agreed, and now the two have their moment captured on film forever.
You know it, and I know it.
These two actors didn't share just one, but multiple unplanned kisses over the 7 seasons of the series. It was Max Greenfield, playing Schmidt, that initiated all the unplanned smooches with his co-star during the first season. As a result, it became an ongoing joke between Greenfield and Johnson, both on set and off set. They definitely got a lot of kisses in, as Johnson has said that he's locked lips with Greenfield more than any girl he's ever dated.
I felt like you needed that more than I did.
The always hilarious Steve Carell surprised both viewers and his cast when he planted a kiss on Oscar Nunez. It was episode 1 of season 3 that Carell decided to lovingly smooch Nunez's character in front of everyone to make up for some homophobic comments he'd made. The whole scene was actually improvised by Carell. There were versions of the scene that were filmed without the kiss, but we're glad they included this take in the episode. Episode 24 of season 14 of the medical drama brought a spontaneous and silly kiss to the screen. Luddington, who plays Joe, goofily kissed Capshaw's character, Arizona. The kiss came between 2 pecks to Joe's fiancée, Alex. It caught everyone by surprise, and Luddington explained that while doing the exciting and joyous scene, she thought, who wouldn't want to kiss Arizona Robbins?
I was the biggest fan I'd watched since the beginning.
While filming a romantic scene on the beach, the director of the 2010 film started telling Cyrus and Hemsworth to try doing different things for the scene, like splashing and pushing each other. Then she said they should kiss, and they did.
Oh, your sister just got kissed.
Dad! That wasn't the last time they locked lips, since after that, the actors dated for 8 years and were married for another 2. Episode 17 of the 4th season was a special musical episode tribute to the cult classic Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
What's up, Riverdale? Are you trying to tear me down?
Actor Casey Cott was singing a song from the show that traditionally includes kissing a random audience member. While filming the scene, Cott opted to do the same and picked fellow actor KJ App for the surprise kiss. In a flirtatious scene from the 2nd episode of season 7, there was a surprise kiss between Gemma Whelan and Indira Varma.
Seems like you don't need a protector.
Whelan later said that it wasn't in the script. However, while the two were acting together, it felt like they should do the kiss. The 2011 supernatural drama series brought viewers a sweet and spontaneous kiss on the cheek given to Roden by O'Brien in the premiere of season 6. Turns out it was a great move, because fans were so excited by the idea of them being together that it resulted in a romantic storyline for the characters in the series.
Hey, Lydia.
Thank goodness, because we are absolutely Team Stydia. One of the most noteworthy scenes in A Room with a View was actually made up on the spot. The crew of the film was trying to find a magical spot for the scene to take place. Wanting cornflowers originally, they ended up having to settle for a poppy field. The actors were given some loose guidelines.
Juden, you stand there.
And then the romantic kiss came along naturally. How could it not in an Italian poppy field? The writers of the 2014 sci-fi film had a hard time finding where a romantic moment could happen between Blunt and Cruise's characters, so Blunt went ahead and took it into her own hands.
It's a challenge.
After the writers gave up on trying to write the kiss in, Blunt went ahead and kissed Cruise. We think Tom Cruise was probably pretty happy about the surprise. The two actors were reunited in this film after not appearing on screen together for nearly 35 years.
Look.
One of the most tender and heart-wrenching scenes of the film has a kiss that was totally spontaneous. It came pretty easily since the two actors had such a long history. Shortly after filming, Fisher passed away. We imagine Hamill was happy to have that special moment with her. The 2003 film has a long kiss between the co-stars after Murray whispers in Johansson's ear in the final scene. Everything from the whisper to the kiss was made up on the spot by Murray. What was whispered remained a secret for years. While filming the graduation scene, Garfield and Stone shared a spontaneous kiss. The kiss was pretty in the moment and natural since the two were dating at the time. Garfield said that while they were shooting the scene, he figured his character would kiss Stone at that moment. And since they were locking lips regularly, he probably didn't give it much more thought.
Can't keep me away.
Tommy Davidson thought it would bring some excitement to the film if he kissed Pinkett Smith on set while filming one of the scenes. It wasn't the best surprise because Davidson didn't realize that a kiss should be rehearsed and agreed upon. When he moved in to kiss his co-star, she pulled back and they didn't end up fully kissing. Will Smith was very upset about the incident and nearly fought Davidson over the unexpected pass.
So I was like, all right, let's go outside and let's talk. And then Jada was like, no, y'all.
In a scene where McGillis's character passionately tells Cruise's character,
I just don't want anyone to know that I've fallen for you.
Cruise responds with a kiss. This was unplanned, and the only reason it happened was because Cruise forgot his lines and decided to kiss her instead. Episode 5 of Season 5 has a scene that includes a kiss between Jax, played by Hunnam, and Venus Van Dam, a transgendered prostitute played by Goggins. The kiss wasn't scripted. Goggins whispered to Hunnam, "Just trust me." Before shooting the scene and after they called action, Goggins gave Hunnam the tender kiss.
Goodbye, Tiger.
The finale of Season 1 brought a surprise kiss between fellow teachers Will and Emma.
I love you, Emma. I finally said it.
Well, the truth is, it was only a shock for one of them. Writer-director Brad Falchuk told Morrison to surprise Maze with a smooch before they filmed the scene, making Maze's reaction totally authentic.
Sup, guys? Wait a minute. You guys aren't the real Avengers.
Sometimes unscripted moments breathe more life into a scene.
The adults are talking.
And other times, they
I'm so sorry.
fall short. Luckily in the MCU, the improvisation gene is impeccably strong amongst its actors. So in this video, we're taking you through all of Spider-Man's unscripted moments that completely took the films to another level. Action. We all know Tony Stark isn't one to get himself caught up in emotional moments, and in Spider-Man: Homecoming, Peter Parker learned that in a pretty awkward way. After Tony Stark has a talk with Peter in his car, he reaches over to open the car door, but Peter thinks he's actually leaning in for a hug. Remember?
That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you.
Well, check out what Tom Holland had to say about the scene.
Well, that was actually an improvised moment. I think I just tried to hug him. I just thought it would be funny if I hugged him and...
The hilarious moment was completely improvised for laughs, but Robert Downey Jr. went along with it. Speaking about Tony Stark and his emotions, during the final moments of Avengers: Infinity War, he was nothing but emotional. Same Mr. Stark. As Spider-Man turned into nothingness in his arms, we were all a puddle of tears when he desperately chants,
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Sir, please. Please, I don't want to go.
That was all Tom Holland again. The director gave him free rein on the death scene, and Tom delivered. Even if he doesn't think it was that spectacular himself.
I don't want to go 3 times in a row, so it's not that amazing of an ad-lib.
It's hard to believe Spider-Man is one of Tom's first big roles. Tom Holland and Zendaya's chemistry is off the charts. Peter Parker and MJ are like magic on screen together, and a lot of that is thanks to the actors' off-screen friendship. According to Zendaya, Tom has a habit of deviating from the script, but thankfully they're so in tune with one another that she was able to respond right back, no matter how annoyed she was.
He just kept improvising. He just did not stick to the script. He was trying to throw me off.
What's your favorite Peter and MJ scene?
She knows. I told her.
He didn't tell me. I figured it out.
If there's one thing better than watching Peter and MJ on screen, it's watching Peter, MJ, and Ned interact with one another. But the truth is, a lot of the time we're watching their off-screen relationships shine through the camera. Remember in Spider-Man Far From Home, Ned walks in on MJ and Peter while he's changing into his Spider-Man suit?
The costume looks great. For the costume party.
Well, Ned wasn't in on the fact that MJ had found out their secret and tried to play it off. Ned's actor, Jacob Batalon, actually said that was one of his favorite scenes to shoot because he got to improv all his comments. There was a lot of laughter on set that day. We have to give Jake Gyllenhaal credit for playing such a convincing role as Mysterio. Who knew that he would actually turn out as a villain in the end? But it looks like we should be praising Jake for more than just his impeccable acting skills. According to the actor, he and director John Watts came up with a lot of unscripted moments for his character that ended up in the film. We don't know what specific scenes these moments are in, but let's just appreciate Mysterio for a sec.
Somebody get this stupid costume off me!
Having Aunt May be played by a younger actress in the Marvel Universe gave us a whole other perspective on her relationship with Peter. It's so comforting to see the two of them interact on screen, but you'll be shocked to find out that a lot of their scenes were unscripted as well. One specific improvised moment in Spider-Man Homecoming happened while they're eating in the Thai restaurant.
How many times do I have to say larb before you talk to me? You know I larb you.
Their conversation was just something the actor made up on the fly with some guidance from the director. Yet again, we have another improvised moment between Peter Parker and Tony Stark. This time, it's in Captain America: Civil War. Check it out.
I'm gonna sit here so you move the leg.
Tony Stark telling Peter to move over might seem like it was in character, and it is. But it was also Robert Downey Jr.'s way of telling Tom Holland to scoot over onto his set marker without ruining the entire take. Funnily enough, it ended up in the final cut.
Can you even see in these?
Yes, I can't. Look, I can't.
Samuel L. Jackson got his moment to shine in Spider-Man as his character Nick Fury. He even got sassy with Spider-Man, although the line wasn't even scripted. When Peter admits he's a little hesitant to join their newest plan, Fury says,
"Bitch, please, you've been to space."
Samuel L. Jackson may not have recalled whether the line was improvised, but Jake Gyllenhaal jumped in to confirm it was 100% unscripted. I'm here to attest, that was improvised. Despite his hesitancy with Nick Fury, Peter was all in for helping out Iron Man on his Avengers Infinity War mission. But Tony Stark wasn't having it. Or should we say Robert Downey Jr. wasn't having it. While Iron Man is having a discussion with Doctor Strange, Peter chimes in that he's backup.
I'm backup.
No, you're still away. The adults are talking.
But that was yet again another improvised line between the unscripted heroes Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. Spider-Man Far From Home is full of European landmarks that make the entire movie stunning, even if a lot of them do get destroyed. According to a Screen Rant interviewer, a lot of improvising happened in a specific landmark, the London Tower. The film's final battle takes place in London, and supposedly during this scene, the cast shot so many versions because of their ability to improvise. You'd never be able to tell in the final cut.
They joined forces like the Power Rangers. You're thinking of Voltron. Who? Voltron. You're thinking of Voltron.
Drax's line,
"I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?"
is one of the funniest highlights that came out of Avengers Infinity War, even if Spider-Man's life was literally being threatened in the scene. The line, however, was actually ad-libbed by Drax's actor Dave Bautista. The rest of the actors, including Tom Holland, are just so professional that they rolled with it. The camera operator even seemed to be quick to react. Michael Keaton got some time to shine in Spider-Man Homecoming, but one of his best lines didn't make the final cut. According to Tom Holland, Keaton actually made a direct reference to his role as Batman in the 80s. His character Vulture is a little confused as to why Spider-Man would save him, and after Tom Holland delivers his "because I'm Spider-Man," Keaton supposedly responded, "but I'm Batman." We don't know if the line was part of the script, but Tom Holland seemed to be hinting it was ad-libbed. Like we mentioned before, Jake Gyllenhaal played the perfect Mysterio, and a lot of why his character is so epic may be because of how well he got along with Tom Holland. According to Tom, Mysterio and Spider-Man were actually meant to bump heads a lot. However, while filming, their interactions turned out to be more friendly. The directors decided to let them head off the script and build their own relationship between the characters. They basically became BFFs.
Good luck, kid. I'll give you about a 50-50 chance. You're pretty awkward, so.
We also see Spidey's actual BFF, Ned, get his own romantic interest. But according to Ned's actor, Jacob Batalon, Ned's relationship with Betty was basically developed by him and actress Angourie Rice. He says they were given a lot of space for improv. They may not have lasted super long as a couple, but there's no doubt they were adorable.
I would totally kiss you, but I think I just threw up in my mouth a little.
I might have a mint.
It seems like Jacob Batalon had a lot to do with all his characters' relationships. With the chemistry between Peter and Ned, we've never doubted the way they were childhood best friends. And the chemistry between the actors off-screen is why it's so authentic. Apparently, because Tom and Jacob weren't given the script days in advance, they never knew their lines, which means their interactions are purely the two actors playing off one another.
Do you know him too?
Yeah, we met. I stole his shield.
If we needed any more proof that Tom Holland is holding his own when it comes to the rest of the Marvel cast, this video is it. Watching these actors not only play superheroes, but be superheroes when it comes to bringing to life a character is nothing short of impressive. Let us know if you have any other unscripted Spider-Man moments we should discuss. Thanks for watching The Things, fans!